everyone. Today's screencast is going to be on graphs. It's going to be on drawing pie charts. Now to do this, you'll need a protractor, you'll need a calculator, and you'll need a ruler in there, and even a compass if you want to draw a nice beautiful circle. Those are the things you'll need. And also it'll be very advantageous if you went across and you watched how to use a protractor on a pie chart to draw it. That would also be great. You could give it a go without doing that, but you might find it very useful. And it's not a big one, it's not a long one. You can do it really, really quickly. But anyway, let's go on. What is a pie chart? Well, we've got it here. A pie chart is a chart represented by a circle. It shows the proportion of each group at a glance. Remember that there are 360 degrees in a circle, so each group in the pie chart will be a proportion of 360 degrees, kindly given to me by BBC Bitesize. What I would say is that 360 degrees is really, really crucial that we understand that, and that how we use that information to find out some degree value, and then how we draw that on the pie chart. Here's an example of a pie chart. So there's two people, there's me and there's you, there's my piece of the pie and there's your piece of the pie. And we can clearly see who's eating more of the pie, can't we? So here we go. Here goes our first example. Make sure you do this along with me. I know that I'm going to go through quite quickly, but copy things out as you go, and it'll just really, really help you when it comes to the quiz. So some podcast listeners were asked what their favorite podcast was out of the three choices below. Here are the results. We have the three podcasts. We have Super Rugby Podcast, Armchair Expert, and Fully Charged. And we can see here that 28 people chose Super Rugby Podcast, 25 people chose the Armchair Expert, and 7 people chose Fully Charged. Now this next formula is very, very, very key. So what we need to do is copy this formula out, and the formula is 360 degrees divided by the total gives us an angle to work with. Now, I'm going to go into more detail here, but very simply, we do know what 360 degrees is. We don't know what the total is yet, but if we count up these, 28 plus 25 plus 7, we end up getting the grand total of 60. So that's going to go into here. So let's do that now. So we have 360 divided by 60 equals 6, and it's degrees. And what that means is that for every person that chose any of these podcasts, for every one, they would be given 6 degrees on the pie chart. So how many people have we got choosing the Super Rugby Podcast? We've got 28. So what we would do is we go 28 timesing by 6. We go 25 timesing by 6, and we'll go 7 timesing by 6. We're going to do that now, and we can see there that 28 timesing by 6. Now that's going to give us the total degrees that we're going to represent on our pie chart to the right in a minute. So 28 timesing by 6 gives us 168. 25 timesing by 6 gives us 150. 7 timesing by 6 gives us 42. If we add all these degrees together, we get 360. So now the last step is we're going to draw out that pie chart. Now remember, if you haven't watched the video on how to draw out a pie chart using a protractor, then you need to go and watch that, or you need to give it a go without watching it. Here I've done it here, and the last thing is I would always actually write down what they are. I'm very simply going to start with a line and draw out 168 degrees, so forth and so on. You can see here also how I've put a key and I've labelled it up so it's clear, but you might just want to write Super Rugby Podcast, Armchair Expert, and Fully Charged also, just to make sure that it's really clear. But you can see here that I've put in all the degree values as well. And that is how we do it. The key is this formula up here, and then using that formula to find out how much proportion you're going to give of a 360 degree circle in your pie chart. Okay, so now this next one is really for you to do. I'm going to give you the options. I'm going to give you the formula, but from there, I'd like you to pause the video, give the whole thing a go, come back and see if you've done it correctly. So here are the options. Some students at a cool school that Mr. Warren teaches at were asked what their favourite sport was out of the 3 choices below. Here are the results. So we've got cricket, rugby and hockey. 28 people chose cricket, 29 people chose rugby, and 15 people chose hockey. The formula that you need to work with is over here. So now pause the video at this point, give it a go, and come back and see if you've got it correct. So the first step was to use this formula. So we're going to take 360 and we're going to divide it by the total. So we had to add up all of these frequencies to get the total, which on this occasion was 72. So now we're going to take away the word total and we're going to input 72. And that's going to give us 5. 360 divided by 72 equals 5. For every person, they're worth 5 degrees. So how many people are there? We can clearly see them down here. So we're going to times those all by 5, and we're going to work out that each proportion of the 360 degree pie chart is going to be represented on it by these amounts. So it makes perfect sense, doesn't it, that 29 people chose rugby and they have 145 degrees. 28 people chose cricket, and we can see that each person is worth 5 degrees, so that you can see why they've got 5 more degrees than the other one. Now we're going to use that information to draw it on the graph, and we're going to make sure we label that graph as well correctly. And we can clearly see there that this is cricket, but I'm going to write there, this is rugby, but we'll write here, and this is hockey. And at a glance, you could look at it and say, oh, okay, it was very similar, isn't it? Hockey's definitely got the least, but rugby and cricket are very similar, and that is the case, and that's why pie charts are absolutely fantastic for doing that. But it is now time for the quiz. So fingers crossed that you are feeling confident. There won't be the formula to use, and I'd highly recommend not sort of looking back in your book as you do this. Try and go to a new page. Try and do it completely on your own. But here we go. Some students in a cool school that Mr. Warren teaches at were asked what their favourite subject was out of the 3 choices below. Here are the results. We've got science, maths, and English. Oof, English took a hit there, didn't it? So what I'd like you to do is draw a pie chart showing the following data. Pause the video, give it a go, and guess what you do once you're finished? You come back and see if you've got it correct. Okie dokie, everyone, here we go. Here is our answers. So our formula was 360 divided by the total. The total on this occasion was 72. So 360 divided by 72 gives us 5 degrees again. We times it across. We've represented that on our graph. Hopefully you are correct. If you are, very, very well done. Now, normally I'd say if you've done really well, go and write a revision card, 3 questions. I would say that's very, very difficult to do. It would take you a very long time. Just do one very good example and I'm sure you would be fine. Until next time, everyone, it's been a real pleasure helping you with your maths today. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening or whatever you're doing.